Hey everyone, so today I'm going to be reviewing the game Conan Exiles. It's an open world survival game and it is a lot of fun. It was released through Steam, which means that you can actually use the family sharing option, which means that you can buy one copy for your household and everyone can log on with different users and play the game. I think it's up to 5. The only downside is that you can't play at the same time. So Mr. Mad bought a copy and he let me play it, and it was so much fun I had to go buy my own copy because we both were fighting over who would get to play it. It is, I would say, on a scale of 1 to 5, maybe a 3 for how child friendly it is. There's not a lot of background chatter from players. There's not a lot of that vulgarity that you get in some games. It is a little bit graphic, though. You do get to kill animals and they do bleed. You do get to kill people and they bleed. And it is based on Conan, the movies, but you don't actually play as Conan. At the very beginning, he frees you from your prison and you get to build your own character. I really like how we build a character in this game. Like I've talked before about selecting your gender, I'm still a little, why did I have to pick male or female? But I actually found when I played on different servers, so I've played on multiple servers, I've made different characters. When I went from male characters to female characters, a lot of it was equatable. There wasn't a lot of features that you could only get on one and not on the other. You can build almost, I don't want to say the exact same character in male or female form, but you can build very similar characters, which I very much appreciated. And the same when it comes to the armor. Although Mr. Mad kind of yells at me because I'll pick what the armor is based on how well it looks, not on whether it's a light, medium, or heavy, or what it adds to my character's attributes, like whether it gives it grit or stamina. I'm just like, oh, well, I like how this looks on her. But I very much appreciate that the similarities between the male and the female versions, it's not two extremes. You do start off naked. It very much amuses me. For the women, you can pick the size of their bust. But equitably, if you play as a male character, you can pick the size of their equipment, which is somewhat funny to watch the characters run around. And I will say, if you're playing with the character and they're naked and they do certain things, you get views of certain body parts and you kind of go, that is really accurate. I do think the graphics in this game are very accurate. There's desert parts. And when you're in the desert, they even have certain spots will have that glass effect or the mirage effect. There's multi-tones. It is a very good graphic game. The only slight downside is if you build a very big fortress or castle, whatever. For example, on one of the servers we play, we have a huge one. It's kind of amusing to run up to it because it loads in little bits. It doesn't all load at the same time because we've made it so much more extreme than I think the game was designed for. And I'm not really sure what else to say about it. It is a lot of fun. I like that you can do the same things over and over again. But you build up. So, for example, you build a fort, you build it out of one material, and then you can upgrade as you progress through the game. Same with tools. You start with stone tools, you can progress them to iron tools, and then you can progress to steel, and so on and so on. And there's different adventures throughout the game. So you'll unlock different achievements as you're going, and you don't have a list necessarily to know that that's an achievement. You'll just be running and you'll hit a new spot and it's, oh, you visited this spot for the first time, or oh, you did this for the first time. And when you're leveling, that is very helpful because I find it's a lot easier to level. Now, I've been playing on a server where it took me like a day to not even to get to level 60, which is where it maxes out, because it's 10 times everything, which is another really cool thing about this game is I do like the different servers. So on some servers, You can take more damage. In some servers, your resources are accumulated better. They have role-playing servers, which I have not played on yet. I will say probably don't let your kids go on necessarily the role-player ones if you're concerned about what they're going to hear or talk about, because there will be a lot more chatter. And there are, you can play PvP, you can play PvE. So there's 3 different types of servers that you can play on. One, you're playing against other players and you can kill each other at any time. One, you can play against other players, but there's only a select time in the day where you can actually kill other players or destroy their stuff. And then there's another server where you could just play it safe and no one can hurt you or destroy your fortress. So it really depends on, if you just want to build and run around, you can do that. You don't have to worry about someone smashing it. That's probably, I built a very big one on a server, not realizing that other people could break it. So Mr. Mad has to go and rebuild when I'm not looking if someone has hacked into our little house. You can get pets, you can capture wild baby animals, and you can take them back, and if you've built the proper facility, you can then grow them to adults, and you can set them as guards, you can set them to follow. They have things called thralls, which you can, as you play the game, you get fragments of power, which you can then use to purchase from the admin of that server to buy a thrall. And you can get thralls for everything. So one that'll work your furnace, and one that'll work your carpenter bench, and it improves the quality of what you get out of them. You can also capture thralls in the game. So there are regular people like you playing in the game, but they're also game-generated persons that you can go, and if you need a specific rope and some other things, you can capture them and bring them back to your base, and they can be your defense, or they can work for you. So you pick, when you first create your character, you pick which religion you want to be, you pick which race you want to be. They give you, for both of those, they give you a little blurb about what they are all about. And it's interesting because even though you pick the race, you then, I feel like race is the wrong word, because you've picked a culture to be a part of or a tribe to be a part of, but then you can go down and you change all your features, you can change your skin tone, which I think is really inclusive. You're not limited to just one specific look based on what you've picked, which I really do like how customized you can make your avatar in this game. You can even change their height, which is really great. Some games, when you create a character, there's so many options that you get confused. I find their layout of how you do it is very easy. You can pick their voice, you can pick their height, you can pick their hair color, you can pick their hairstyle, you can pick if they have makeup, you can pick the eye color, but there's not so many options. And see the new glasses? Because I'm getting blinder and blinder as I get older. It's laid out very nicely, their menus. A lot of the times Mr. Matt will try and get at me to play a game, and it's got all the stuff in all these weird little, and they're tiny, and I'm going like, I can't see that to make a choice. I very, very much appreciate the visual aesthetics of Conan Exiles. Now, I play the computer version, but I have it set up to play with a remote control. And so it's a little bit different than when he plays with the keyboard and mouse. You have like a spindle wheel or a quick bar, depending on which one you're playing on, that you can put tools in. And it's very easy to use. I would say it's very easy for new people to use, and it's not ridiculously complicated. There's not a box going that's telling you your missions and a box going that's telling you to do this, and you can turn the chat on and off, the typed chat. I like to have it up just because it is very small and is very readable, but that is a huge point in favor of the Conan Exiles game, is that it is a very user-friendly interface, and especially if you, like I said, if you get the remote control set up. Mr. Matt he set it up, so I couldn't tell you whether that was hard or easy, but once it's all set up and once you learn which button will go between, it is a little bit different than when you play with the mouse, especially when you go into your personal inventory and you can go between your feats and your attributes, especially in feats, which are skills, your skill set, like to create things. I couldn't click between certain things. There was one button on the remote control that I had to play around and hit every button until I figured out that that's what that was going to tab between. But yeah, it works really great whether you're on the computer or whether you're playing with the paddle. We both play the PC-based version. I'm not sure if the game console, playing through the game's console, is any different or any worse or any better. But we both really, really love this game. I would say it's one of our top favorite games now to play. So again, for how kid-friendly it is, I would say 3 out of 5, just because of the graphic blood. And for a new person, I would say the same. It's like a 3, depending on how many games you've played. Overall, though, I would give it like a 4.5 out of 5. It's very high ranking. I do have a slight problem with the game. There are a lot of different creatures you can fight. Mr. Mad sort of warned me that there were giant spiders, but he misinformed me on where they were. So there's a whole part of the map that I will not play. Went into it once on accident, and a giant spider came up behind me. And I have a severe fear of spiders, even in video games, so I can't play that. So, warning, a lot of the creatures don't look like real creatures. There's alligators, there's elk, there's bears, there's wolves. There's real animals that you can hunt, and then there are a few demon-y creatures. Some look like lizard people, some look like, I don't even know, like a turtle. It's called a shaleback. It looks like a weird sort of twisted up turtle. And giant spiders. So there are a few other things in there, but most of them don't look like real. They're either a real animal that's just a real animal. There's elephants, there's rhinos. If you go into the Sahara part, warning, elephants and rhinos can kill you really, really quickly. There's tigers. It's a lot of fun, except the giant spiders. But that's just me. So I hope you try it. I'm not sure if there's a trial without buying it, which is unfortunate because it is, I believe it was like a $40 in Canadian dollars game. So I found it was worth it, but I got to try it on someone else's. So if you have someone who has family share that can let you try it out first, that's a really great way to see whether or not you're going to like it. And the upside is that you can't play on the same time, but you can have your own character on another server and play at different times. This is really good for parents who don't want to spend $80 so that both their kids can play the game. It's a great learning opportunity on how to share. You can buy that one copy and they can share it between their profiles. So I hope you like it. I want to hear what you think about. Both my cats have come up in through the background now. I want to know how you like Conan, what you liked, what you didn't like, if you agree with me on something, or you're like, Mrs. Mad, totally not how I feel about it. As well, game recommendations. If there's a game you want to see us do some gameplay on, or games you want to hear what we think about them, we'd love to hear suggestions. If they cost a lot, might take a while for us to get back to you on that one. And yeah, so like and subscribe. Be sure to check out some of our other videos. We've reviewed lots of games. We've got some gameplay, some videos on the sexism in gaming, and have a really, really great day.